Back in the shop this morning, and I'm ready to do the next step here. Got a bunch of things we've talked about with the breakout issue. I've got a new bit here. This is a downward spiral with a coating on it. My one problem is that my cutout needs to be deeper. That's why I had the cutout with this longer bit, because when I'm cutting this out, the full cutout misses, that the collet right here misses my piece of wood here that is holding down the material. But now, since this bit's too dull, even if I go slower, I still fear that it's going to chip out. So I'm not going to use that bit for the first cut. I'm going to use this bit, this new bit, brand new bit, downward spiral, 1/4 inch. I'm going to use it to do these first cuts, and I'll actually have it cut down to here. Now, there's two things that I have an issue with. Number one, for some reason I always forget to add material to sand off. So I need to add a new vector for the cutout that gives me, I'm going to say, 1/32 of an inch all the way around here, and that'll make it so I have material to sand off of here. Right here, you can see I sanded too much. The bevel screw heads went clear down into the side there. I just didn't give myself enough material. I didn't give myself any material to sand off. The second thing I realized is, now I do know that I just cut this off, and I've switched it around so that I can just use the same. I don't have to do all the toolpaths over here. When I'm cutting out multiple at a time, I'll update the program and the toolpaths. But I'm realizing, if you look where this is gonna cut, this cutout right here is gonna completely eliminate to this piece, which means, number one, the tabs right here are meaningless because that material is gonna be cut off. And when I do that, since I have no tabs on the side, then it's just gonna have the 3 tabs up here and a lot more likely to break out. So, two things that I'm going to do. I'm going to add tabs to the side here, inside here. And then, since my new bit isn't deep enough to cut all the way through, I need the new bit to cut this down to here. And then, when I flip it over, I'll have the cutout. I'll need to have this longer bit cut. Actually, no, I don't have to. I don't have to go all the way down. I can use this bit for all of it. That's what I'm going to do. So I'm going to eliminate to this longer bit because it's too dull. I need to go buy a new one. And I'm just going to use this. And then the first half, I'll just cut halfway down. The second one, to finish cutting it out, I'll cut it down the rest of the way. I will need to be careful to make sure that the tabs are symmetric, because if they're not, then like right now, I know it's not, because this right here, when I invert it, it's going to cut through here, and this is going to cut through here, and this is going to cut through here. So I'll need to go rotate these around, and I still want to avoid, let's see, why did I wanted to avoid because the collet would come down and potentially hit this. I still want to avoid that. So what I'm probably going to do is I'm going to move the tabs over here and over here. So the 2 sides. And I'm just not going to tab this top part so that I don't stand any chance of the collet dumping in here any more than the depth of this, which, let's see here. I'm not cutting that over there. I care about this over here. And I'm only going down halfway. If I'm only going down half, then I can come clear to here. And that's not hitting. There's a better way to see that. So if I'm coming down to here, I'm missing the collet right here. Whereas if I were trying to go all the way down, number one, the bit doesn't go to the bottom of the material. But also, when I cut this out, the cutout up here is going to come clear up to here. And when it's all the way down, the collet's going to miss that piece of wood. So I got to change up the program a bit. And then other things that I'm going to do, I've put in this stock sand cutter. I can't remember what it's called. But I'm going to use this to flatten out the stock. I'll do that as a pocket so that I still have this edge. Well, hold on. That doesn't make sense because then it won't sit flat against the table. I need to have a different clamping. The reason I have this tooth cut in here is I would slot this, and then I would have this piece right here in the slot clamped down so that I could surface plane all of this. My problem is I've got no material there. I don't have space to make a slot, which also tells me I need to pull this back a bit. Possibly with that much space right at the peak. I think it'll miss that. And this is sharp. This bit's sharper, so I shouldn't have an issue with that hitting. If it does a little bit, it's not that big a deal. I was going to surface plane this, but I don't have the material. And even my next blank, I can't surface plane it. I was going to surface plane it because I noticed that if you look at the depth of the bevels here, those were all supposed to be equal, but since one is smaller, that means that the material itself, instead of being flat compared to the bed, was like this. Obviously, I'm exaggerating it. Actually, it's opposite. Since these were deeper, these were higher up. So my bed's not completely level, and it's been a while since I've been working on this, and it moves around. And usually I would surface plane this material, and then I would surface plane this, so that I know that I have the zeros. But what I will do is change it so that it's wider. I'll change the cutout so that it's wider to allow me to sound. And then I will change the cutout from the deep bit that does it in one pass to the shallower new bit that won't chip out. I'll still run it slower, but I'll go halfway on A side and then the other half on B side. What else do I need? Oh yeah, I need to change you can see the cross cut. I need to change the raster offset, take the 90-degree off. What else do I need to do? That mess up was just because of moving the material. I don't need to change anything on the toolpath there. Oh yeah, and then I need to extend the vector that surrounds these vents a little bit so that I don't get this line here. I don't want this pocket cut to determine that line. I want the cutout to determine that line. I think that's it. So I'm gonna go, oh yeah, did I want to go deeper on this pocket? I know I want to go deeper on this so I don't have to chisel those out, and I'm just gonna, I could go measure the 16th inch bit in tool 5, but I'm just gonna push this down to a 1/4 inch and sand anything that messes up here. I was trying to decide, do I go deeper on this? I was going to move these in because I wanted this to be thicker. Yeah, I'm gonna make the pocket back here about the 16th of an inch smaller so that I can move the screw heads in more. And right now that's not quite in the center of the material. I mean, I guess it is when I have the sanding stuff out. But I need the bevel to be deeper, and that means I need it to be closer to the center of the radio. All right, I'm gonna go play around on a spire and see if I can get a toolpath that does the whole thing. And I can eliminate this. The cutout is now gonna be tool 4. And then I was going to add a surface, focus there. I was gonna add the surface to flatten it out. I'm not gonna bother with that. So it should just be the 16th inch, the 1/4 inch downward, 1/8 inch downward, and the V-carve. Cool, I'll go to that.